What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Hav here, one of your hosts from the Real Fan Review, coming out of Long Island, New York. With me today, we have our man in the chair, Al.
How's it going, everybody?
Yes, after a little hiatus, we are back.
Yeah, we're back, man.
Yeah, I want to say better than ever, but we've always been good. So, yeah, man. Well, listen, we've missed you guys, and we may or may not have B tonight. We'll see if B jumps on the podcast there. But today we're going to talk about one of our favorite foursomes, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Raphael, Donatello, Leonardo, Michelangelo, and the whole Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle world. We're going to get to talk about that, see if you guys are going to be ready to go see this movie, the animated version by Seth Rogen's team. And let's see what we think, man, because it's going to be pretty interesting. And then also, we'll talk today really quickly about some of the movies we've seen, even though we haven't done podcasts. Yeah. We're not crazy. We still see movies. We love movies. So, so Al, man, let's get going right there on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle front there, man. It's coming out this week. We have not made plans to go see it just yet, but I'm pretty sure we'll go check it out maybe tomorrow or over the weekend. Al, let's start off with the easy one. What is your favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle?
My favorite would have to be, and has always been, Donatello.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, originally it was just because of the bow. I mean, we're talking generations ago when I used to train for a little while. That was the favorite one I used to use. And then just from there, he was the more, I guess, scientific. He was the one that made the gadgets. Right. And I'm a gadget person, so I just used to love the fact that he would try to come up with all these little things for them to use and tools and devices and so forth. So I just loved seeing what they would have him create for the team in order to get through a mission and so forth. So yeah, right. Donatello was my guy.
Definitely, man. When I think about the Turtles, I think a lot of people's favorite is Michelangelo because he's the cool one. He's funny. He does the nunchucks. He loves pizza like all of them, but he's just a little bit more extra with the pizza. I always go back and forth between Leonardo and Michelangelo. But Leonardo comes off too straight edge for me. So it's Michelangelo for me, man. I love Michelangelo and the way he just comes off just aloof sometimes. And I love the nunchucks, the way it looks, and the orange on his bandana. Did you guys know that they originally all had red bandanas? That's kind of crazy.
No.
Yeah, the cartoon, before the cartoon, the comic book series, which was in black and white, the original reason that they had them all in like one color is to save money on ink. So they were all supposed to have red masks, but I'm so happy that they did that to kind of not only differentiate between them, but also to kind of like let them all have their own personality and stand out.
Yeah.
And there have been so many iterations of the Turtles, right? We have the animated series, we have the comic book series, we have the toy line, we have the very first, I think it was 1990s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh God.
Then we had the Michael Bay Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and now we have these new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So there's been all sorts of different kinds of turtles out there. Al, is there any specific one that you like more out of all the turtles you've gotten? Is it the TV show? Is it the movies? What's the best version of Turtles for you?
Yeah, it was the original cartoon that they used to air. That I just felt was when I thought of the Turtles, that's how they looked to me in my head. So right. I liked the way they made them look and did the cartoon animation and so forth. Mm-hmm. The Michael Bay one, to me, it had potential, but they were they made them too oversized because they're supposed to be teenagers. So and young teenagers, not 18, 19. They were supposed to be, from what I understood, more in the mid-teens. So
15, 16.
Yeah. So I felt like that just made them look too much of a mutation in terms of how they appeared. But going back to the cartoon, only because it also kind of reminded me of the old arcade game for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I used to love, and the old NES version of it.
Turtles in Time.
So yeah, I would have to say it was the old animation on the cartoon.
Yeah, man. It's funny because I think of the cartoon series when I do think of the Turtles and how awesome it was, and we cannot forget the freaking song "Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles." I mean, that song is just—it's a classic now, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
But
Turtles in the half shell.
I cannot ever front on the first movie where you assume because it's a movie and they're just gonna put it out there to make money that it would look stupid or corny. And dude, I can't believe how right they got it. Like they look like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in real life. It was so cool to see them look like that, and it was yeah, that's exactly what they would look like in real life. So it was like, I was very impressed by it. I love the way that they looked, and they looked in real life, quote
Hmm.
unquote.
Yeah.
And I just loved it, man. And as much as I give the cartoon praise, I always want to see how things would look if they were real, and that made it real for me. Because now I think that they're downstairs in the sewer somewhere. So that did it for me, man. But not for nothing. I can't deny, and I'm not even sure if Michael Bay did it or he just was a producer on that more recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Hmm.
But it wasn't bad. It was a little overkill though, like all the different accessories, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Donatello's the quote unquote nerdy one. You don't have to put glasses on him to say that. Like just, oh right.
we, we get
And
it. We
then
get it.
yeah, but I did kind of like instead of them having the little thing on their eyes, it was like a bandana that was covering their eyes. Also, I thought that was pretty cool. Michelangelo with a rosary bead for a necklace. I don't know. That's still iffy on that. So but I did enjoy that first movie with the Michael Bay produced
Yeah.
one, which was pretty cool. I thought the
Hmm.
second one was actually really cool. With it had Bebop and Rocksteady.
Yeah.
Um, but it wasn't, I guess, well received by people, but I did like it. I thought I had a good time with it,
Yeah.
but it didn't go anywhere. So of course they shelved the third one that they were planning to do, and all this
Hmm.
stuff. But let's talk about some of the other things that's so well known with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and that's their villains, right? We
Hmm.
have, like I just mentioned, Bebop and Rocksteady. You have Shredder.
Hmm.
Is it Kang or Krang?
I think Crank. Yeah, Crank. Yeah, that sounds more familiar than the other
Right.
one.
That was one of the more weirder villains. It was like a brain.
Yeah.
We had the Foot Clan. That was pretty cool. And
Yeah.
you had all these like the Rat King. I can't. What was the Fly? That was the not the professor. He was the scientist or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, so many different villains and things like that. Al, is there anyone that you like the most? Like the villain that you saw the most that you wanted to see more?
What was Shredder? I mean, only because he like epitomized what would be their main villain. Because everybody else kind of was more goofy,
Right.
whereas Shredder was always like the villain.
Hmm.
Everybody else, especially what was it, Bebop and everything, like they were more. They always came off as like the comic relief of the show.
Right.
Like they always like tripped over each other or messed up the mission for Shredder and so forth. So,
Right.
um, like, and then especially when you have Splinter, training them to have someone that's on his supposedly on his par and level of skill
Hmm.
and seriousness. I felt like that was the one who I always wanted in to
Hmm.
balance the goofiness of the other villains.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Definitely.
so I liked seeing whenever they brought him on and he balanced everything out, or
Hmm.
he would come in after everybody failed, and you would see them all whimper off with their tail between their legs because they failed him. It
Right.
always made me laugh. So he was
Yeah.
the favorite part of whenever he would come onto the screen.
Yeah, I can't believe how right they got Shredder as a villain for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because it could have been corny,
Yeah.
like Kang or Krang or whatever the brain his name is. Um, I thought that was just like. Meanwhile, we're talking about turtles that were mutated, right? And a rat that was mutated, but I always thought everything else was like too far fetched. Like the fly, I got because of the turtles, but the brain inside of a huge dummy that would work because of him, like I didn't get that.
Yeah.
Bebop and Rocksteady, I thought were cool ideas because they kind of like went off with turtles. But there is something about Orukusaki Shredder that is just kind of cool, man. The costume is cool with the freaking the little sharp either knives or just the sharp pieces of metal on them.
Hmm.
And the way that he always went after the turtles, and just like he's a one man war machine. Like he would take on all four, sometimes Master Splinter as well, and it was just like, yo, he's a badass, man. Like,
Hmm.
so as much as Shredder was sometimes the subordinate to Krang,
Hmm.
Shredder was still the shit to me, man. I love Shredder too, man. He
Yeah.
was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And they also got crazy with some of the vehicles too. But
Yeah. Yeah.
nothing's better than the turtle van. Come on, I
They al-
go for it.
I was just gonna say they always seem to be adding something new to it every episode, and I was like, where are you fitting all this shit in
Like
that
it could do that
van?
now. Like,
Oh man.
yeah, man. But the turtle van, I had like two of those though. I broke one, and I was like, I have to have it, mom. Come on, mom, please. You gotta find a place to put your turtles, and they're in the damn vehicle almost every episode in the cartoon. So it's like you have to have the turtle van. Did you ever collect those toys?
Nah, I never got. I enjoyed them on on the screen on the TV, but
Right.
I never got into like buying them as figures. I
Gotcha.
never got to them to that extreme. My
Yeah. See, I
nephews
I
had.
can't remember if it was my middle brother or Brandon. That's why I wish Brandon was on here so I could ask him. But one of them loved the turtles, and they would get all the freaking toys. And I remember my brother, the middle one, Eric,
Mhm.
he loved Raphael for some reason. I was like,
Okay.
of course you like Raphael. He's a pain in the ass, so take I can see Brandon kind of liking Leonardo though. So I wonder if he
Yeah.
likes Leonardo. I gotta ask him the next time there.
Yeah.
But
No, my.
it's getting rave reviews right now, and I honestly, it made me excited to hear that it was doing so good and how well received it's being out there because you feel like some of these franchises are just like putting out shit just to put it out there, and they're not really taking the time to delve deep.
Mhm.
And to hear that it's such a success, and I don't believe Shredder's in this one. It looks like there's a whole mutant,
Yeah.
like insect people that are going to be in this movie. But I've heard nothing but positive things. Yeah, how about you?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, it scared me in the beginning, like the first
Hmm.
couple preview trailers that they gave us. It like I got scared. I was like, oh, don't tell me they're just chasing across the Spider Verse with this style of animation and trying to just jump on
Hmm.
board and get on the bandwagon, so to speak. But the more recent trailers, like the full fledged trailer that they just released not that long ago,
Right.
made me a little bit more interested in going to actually see this one. At first, like you
Yeah.
said, I wasn't really, oh, I have to go see it. Now I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe I will check this out because it's getting a little bit more interesting. So,
Right.
see how they do it, see their take. And like I said, they're actually letting them be teenagers because they seem a lot more younger. The
Hmm.
jokes seem to be more of that a teenager of that age would make. So, um, I'm actually going to be interested to see this one and how they portray the turtles now.
Yeah, man. Same. And like I said, normally we buy the tickets the minute it's released out there for someone to buy or for people to buy online with the AMC Stubs thing or whatever
Hmm.
the movie ticket thing that you guys use out there. But I never looked into it. I'm like, I wonder why, and I guess it wasn't amped up off of the trailers, but I am more amped up seeing how great the reviews are. So more
Yeah.
than likely tonight I'll text everybody, see if they want to go check it out sometime either tomorrow or the weekend. I'm sure
Okay.
my kids probably want to see it too, but I heard it's so good that people want to see it twice. And I'm like, maybe I should see it Thursday and the weekend. But there's so many movies that I really need to catch up on and see. But we'll see about that, man.
Yeah.
We'll definitely talk after the podcast, Al. We'll get
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
idea of when we can go check this out, man.
Cool.
But listen, that's gonna be us on the turtles there. How about you guys out there, man? Who's your favorite turtle? Did you get a chance to go see the movie? Let us know on the comments below if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening to us on the podcast app there. You can email us at the real fan review at gmail.com. Real fan REEL. All right, Al, let's talk about something we haven't had a chance to talk about over the last couple of weeks, and that is the amount of movies that we've seen. I've seen so many goddamn movies, but we haven't had a chance to like link up. Either I'll go away to
Yeah.
San Diego for, by the way, San Diego's beautiful. Shout out to San Diego if you're listening out there, people from San Diego. Woof,
Mhm.
why would you ever leave? So, we've had some family things going on too. Summer's kind of
Yeah.
crazy with everybody. So I'm glad we got back up together today. And let's talk about some of the movies we've seen there, Al. So
Yeah.
I think we haven't, I know you guys talked about Indiana Jones was the last episode that you guys
Yeah.
did, right?
Yeah.
And Indiana Jones was a letdown for me. I thought it had potential, but yeah, it didn't
Yeah,
nail
that's
it,
what we
man.
were. Yeah, I was just gonna say that's what we were waiting to see because we know that you're a big indie fan. So I wanted to know what your
Huge.
take. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, man. Because again, I love Indiana Jones, and one of my favorite movies is The Last Crusade. It's so memorable, and I have so many memories attached to it, seeing with my mom and my family. And
Hmm.
again, it's one of those movies that I watch as many times as I can. If it's on like TV, I won't turn it off. If I miss it and I feel like I haven't seen it in a long time, I'll put it on again. And it's just disappointing that the last two movies kind of ruined the legacy of Indiana Jones a little bit to me. I feel
Yeah.
like the legacy ended at Last Crusade, and everything else they made after it doesn't count. So it's just incredible, man. But
Yeah.
since we've seen the Last Crusade, I know that I've personally seen Oppenheimer,
Yeah.
Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part One. I'm trying to think what else I've seen. I know I've seen another movie in there. Oh, Insidious: The Red Door. I
Okay.
saw. And I think that's pretty much it. I think those are the three movies that I've seen over the last month or so.
Okay.
And Al, I got to tell you, man, out of the movies that I saw in the last month, Oppenheimer was absolutely crazy. And
Yeah.
and luckily I got to see that with you the other night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Al, when I see a movie like that, I say to myself, I don't think I'm gonna see it again because it was 3 hours long. It was very intense, and it's not an exciting, quote unquote, exciting movie. It was exciting because I'm not gonna lie, there was parts where my heart was skipping a beat, and I don't know if it's because of the music, the theme, or the stuff that was happening in the movie. There's a lot of unbelievable stuff happening in that movie.
Hmm.
But when I see a movie like that, I say to myself, I see Best Picture
Hmm.
for the Oscars. I see Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best Actress,
Yeah.
Best Supporting Actress. I'm like, I see this movie winning all the
Yeah.
awards right
Oh, the
now.
score. Yeah. Just the
Oh, the
score
score is
alone.
incredible. Freaking the guy who did the Black Panther stuff, I think it's
Yeah.
Ludwig or something like that. I forgot his name.
Yeah. Kid. I mean, like you said, we saw that movie together. It's not something that should be scaring you. It's a historical movie. It's just
Hmm.
it's based on the Manhattan Project and Oppenheimer's creation of the atom bomb and so forth.
Right.
But just the sounds, the explosions, the
Oh,
the big forget it. I forgot what scene it was, but I guess it was like one of those scenes where it went from quiet and then there was like this huge explosion. I jumped. It got me. I was like, "What the?" It was
yeah.
like you would think it was like a jump scare. It came out of nowhere. It was like just boom, and like and we were watching it in IMAX, not even Dolby,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I felt like I was being rattled out of my chair
Oh,
sometimes.
absolutely.
So I
Absolutely.
mean, yeah, that's going to be another one. I would like to see it in the theater just for that experience again before it leaves, because I'm
Hmm.
not going to be able to mimic that experience at home.
I gotcha. Now,
Yeah,
I wanted to ask you, man, because maybe it was just me, and it made me feel really like slow and stupid, right? Because the beginning of the movie, it wasn't like it'll let you catch up. It was more like, we're going. Pick
yeah,
it up, Nick. Pick it up. like, come on, pick it up. You gotta follow the words and follow what we're saying.
yeah,
And what I didn't realize was the movie was going forward in time, back in time. When black and white was this person's version, color was this person's version,
yeah.
and it was like they were talking fast. They were talking like, someone that would understand science. And I'm like, I am lost. But by somewhere like in the middle, I started clicking with the movie. I'm like, all right, I see what's happening. I understand the pressure, the time frame, what's going on in the background of the movie, like why they're rushing to build the bomb, and seeing all the craziness of Oppenheimer.
Mhm.
And I finally got it. And then at the end of the movie, it turned into almost like a not a crime drama, but like a court case
Yeah,
almost. And I was like, oh shit, what is this? Like I thought it was all about the bomb.
yeah,
No, it's like he's trying to one up somebody else, and Strauss is upside trying to one up him, and
yeah. Destroy his reputation, and yeah.
right. And mind you, all of it fascinating. Fascinating. I loved it. I loved watching that movie.
Hmm.
But to me, it's like, I don't know, maybe that's just my own personal choice. Like I can see that movie is great, but to me, it's like I would still rather watch Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. Like,
Yeah,
like
it's
go for it out.
no, I was just going to say, I mean, to your point about the pace of the movie, it's very
Yeah.
slow paced. It's very dialogue heavy. And to give the expression, the scene I feel was the most action was when Emily Blunt's character is getting cross-examined and she gets to go back at the lawyer and they go back and forth over the comments, the question being asked and so forth.
Uh-huh.
And I felt that those few minutes were the most action packed, believe it or not, of the movie,
Yeah.
because then everything else is just explaining like what they need to do, this, that, and going back and forth and just
Right.
speaking dialogue and speaking science. Other than, at the end when they finally get to test the bomb and so forth. So,
Yeah.
I just laughed at when I walked away and I said, oh, for a 3-hour movie, the most action seemed to be for me was that scene when because
Right.
for the whole movie the wife is telling him fight, but fight back,
Fight
why aren't you
back.
fighting? And she had to fight, and she got there, and when she got her chance, she didn't back down like he was. And
Yeah.
it's a good movie, and but to your point, it's 3 hours, man.
Yeah.
And there
And
were
listen,
times where you felt the 3
listen,
hours.
Endgame was 3 hours and I'll watch that shit again.
Mhm.
But I would still rather watch Infinity War. Like, there's just a little bit more action. There's just a little bit
Yeah,
more things happening.
yeah,
And listen, man, again, Oppenheimer, I want to say it's a great movie, and it is. It is a great movie, well made, great writing. Like, just is it Killian or Cillian? I think it's Killian Murphy. He kills it, man. He just destroys it. There's a lot of names and a lot of big actors in there that I didn't know were in there.
yeah,
Matt Damon is in everything from now on. I'm convinced that man has a special part in every movie that he just shows up and like, oh
yeah.
shit, it's Matt Damon. Like, I'll never forget Interstellar. I'm like, who they're saving this scientist on another planet? He turns around and like, oh shit, it's Matt Damon. Like, oh
I ju-
God.
but what I would have loved for them to have done, but I guess being that it was such a serious movie, there was no way they were going to do it. Given that it's a movie about all of these complex scientific theories and so forth,
Mhm.
I would have loved for him, since he was now the military guy who had no idea what the hell they were talking about or doing,
Right.
love for him to turn around and say, I don't know, just science this shit or something like that. Going back to his line from The Martian where he says, I'm going to sign, oh,
Science
kid,
the
I would
shit
have
out of
loved,
this, right?
yeah, I would have loved for him to have just thrown that line out there.
Yeah, man.
But I guess
So,
not. Yeah.
I mean, I would tell people you need to see Oppenheimer at least once.
Oh, yeah.
Because
And
I'm
in the
telling you
theater.
now, you are going to hear about this movie come Oscar season,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Oh, come on. Between that
With
and Barbie and everything going on with that right now. Yeah. You're
uh,
going to be hearing about those movies for a while. Go
what
see
about
them.
for you, Al? Do you say the movie's great, like you need to see it or you should see it? Because to me, I'm like, even though I'm talking a little bit trash about it, I'm like, you still need to see it because it's fantastic
Yeah,
and
no, you
crazy.
need to see it. I mean,
Yeah,
not only because
yeah,
of the subject matter. I mean, no matter which
yeah.
side of the fence you are on in regards to the bomb
Hmm.
and war and so forth, it's a very monumental moment in our history. Not
Right.
only for America for what we did in terms of using the bombs, but just globally, the
Right.
impact and what it had on war going forward. Because ever since then, the the main deterrent to war is motherfuckers might drop the bomb.
Right.
So just to see the history. I mean, granted, it's not fully accurate. I'm sure
Hmm.
they've taken some liberties with some of the events, but
Right.
just to get an overall feel of the time period of what was going on at the time and what was some of the motivations for what was being done and so forth. Because remember, the main
Hmm.
reason why they were in such a hurry was because they were trying to beat the German. Was it not the German? He wanted to use it on the
They
Germans. They were
wanted to beat the Russians, the
yeah,
Germans. I think they knew they were going to beat the Germans because they
yeah.
said the Germans don't believe in science
So
because it's a
so
Jewish thing.
there was that race to who can get the bomb. So
Right.
go see it, and like I said, IMAX, and then you have to see it in that way, because
Yeah.
there's, unless you have some high end home theater system, you're not replicating that sound
Mm-mm.
that the
That shit
theater is
was
going to give you.
rumbling
Oh,
everything.
yeah. And it really drives home the impact of some of those scenes, especially when they test the bomb and you hear the explosion finally come. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to see it, and you have to see it in the theater.
Yeah. There's some spectacular shots. Um, I don't know if you, I mean, I'm sure you noticed, Al, you notice a lot of things, man.
Mhm,
There was a lot of scenes to show that his anxiousness or anxiety, like he'll talk and he's talking to someone. And if you look behind him, the room is shaking.
mhm.
Or a blackboard is shaking or something shaking to show like there's anxiety or pressure, or it'll just like hone in on him and everything's fuzzy in the background. Just some beautiful shots, man. And
Mhm.
one crazy shot that I don't know how they filmed it, because that's the boardroom, Al, the not the boardroom, the court, the little fake court case that they were having in that one little room. And the wife is hearing about him cheating on him, and she visually sees her husband naked, and then the next scene is her husband's cheating on her while looking at her in the boardroom. And I'm like, they filmed that. Like, that's crazy. That's probably one of the most craziest things I've seen. Like,
Good. Yeah. Yeah, there's some scenes where you're like, "What?" Like, I felt a little uncomfortable. I'm like, they're in the middle.
they're in no board. There's like 6, 7 people in there. She's
Yeah,
just getting down.
yeah, and like you said, like the people that they have, that's what's oh, geez, I'm drawing a blanket right as I go to say her name.
That's the Black Widow.
Yeah, so and she's, to have that scene be her
Right.
writing him in the middle of a courtroom while everybody else is arguing law. I'm like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
That's why I could never be an actor. I would not be
I
able to
hear
keep
you.
a straight face
That
during that scene.
that is just crazy. I want to see they blue screen that shit. I want to say they did that. I just can't see it because they don't, because he doesn't like to do anything that's not practical effects.
Oh
So I
yeah,
mean,
no, no,
he'll use a green screen there and here and there,
no.
or
They
blue
did that.
screen.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But
nah,
he's
they filmed
yeah,
that shit. They
yeah.
filmed that. Al, before we go into Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part One, because that's another movie you and I saw,
Mhm.
I have to hear about Barbie, suit. Talk to me about Barbie, man. Is it worth this hype and recognition that is getting out there in the world right now? It's making more money than Oppenheimer. It's actually making more money than some other movies too. Tell me
it's
about your experience with Barbie.
it's not a great movie. I mean,
Okay.
but it's not a horrible movie either.
All right.
It's. I mean, I've heard it's getting a lot of bashing for because it's like, oh, it's man bashing. I mean,
Right.
I'm a guy. I was there. I didn't feel like I was being belittled.
Right.
It's commentary. If you step back and you look at what they're talking about,
Right.
they're not saying anything that's not true. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, and as maybe because I'm a father of a daughter, like I didn't have a problem with them talking about female empowerment and all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
because I would want my daughter to feel like she can't be anything. And that was one
Right.
of the messages that they were putting forward, that Barbie was all about being anything you want to be. You can be an astronaut, you can be a lawyer, you can be a doctor, and they show you all the different Barbies that portrayed those professions.
Right.
And they were showing how, like, prior to that, all the dolls were really just showing girls how to be a mom, and that's what you can strive for.
Right.
So I like that they gave that message of women can be everything. And all this man bashing is just because it's true. Ken was really just her boyfriend. Like, he really wasn't given anything. So in
Right.
the movie, they portray that as well. Ken doesn't really in the beginning doesn't really have anything.
Right.
So there's even a scene where she calls him superfluous, and he's and she mistreats him, is
Right.
how I saw it. And then there's a flip, and then he mistreats her, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the movie, like, it's the message I got was there should be a balance, and
Right.
they, one of the messages that it really conveys, and again, I like that it conveys this for these little girls that are growing up. Don't define yourself by your boyfriend. Don't define yourself by your career. You let
Mm-hmm.
you define who you are. And I
Right.
thought that was a great message. So, again, it's not the greatest movie,
Yeah.
but it does have a good message, and I like that, and I enjoyed that. And it's a very silly movie.
Hmm.
It's aware of what it is. It's
Right.
aware it's a movie about dolls, and it's very obvious about that, and so forth. And there were some scenes I was cracking up, kid. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, this movie's making me laugh, and I'm laughing pretty hard. So,
Yeah. How's my guy Simu Liu in there? How's
oh,
Simu Liu
kid, he's
doing?
good. He's good. That's what I'm saying. They have, and on top of that, they have such great casting in terms of people. Um, I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name, but he was the main villain in Secret Invasion. He's in there. He plays one of the Kens.
Oh, get
Uh,
out of here.
yeah, I mean, and they all play their part well.
Right.
And yeah, it was, that's what I'm saying. It was a funny movie, and the way they feed off each other, the
Hmm.
competition between him and the main Ken they had me dying. And, it was just funny. Will Ferrell is in there.
Uh-huh.
He's not a real big part of the movie,
Right.
but he has some funny lines. But he's Will Ferrell. He's like the same character
In
he
every
is in
movie.
every
Yeah.
movie. Yeah, he's the same person. But yeah, no, if you go, I mean, granted, you got two boys, so you probably won't go, at least until maybe comes home. But I would check it out.
Yeah. Check
Yeah,
it in
yeah.
movies, or like it's worth a rental, or you telling me I got to go watch it on my own at the theaters one night?
I don't say no, no, no. It's not a have to see it in a theater,
Okay.
but I would watch it. Whether you wait for it to come on streaming or rental on VOD or something,
Hmm.
but I would see it at least once.
All
Like
right.
just so you could say you saw the movie that's become this big phenomenon. But everybody came dressed in pink. Oh, it was hysterical. My daughter came. Yeah, it was great. That's what I'm saying. Just for the experience, if you wanted to enjoy that experience in the movie theater while it still has the excitement it has, it's
Right.
fun. Like I said, just go for the fun of it, the enjoyment of that. Like, to me, I equate it to when you go to the Star Wars movies and you have these guys coming dressed as Jedi and so forth, or Obi-Wan or
Right.
Darth. Yeah, it's the same thing. They're just doing it about Barbie dolls. So
I got you.
you can't, if you don't want to be made fun of for going to your movie like that, don't make fun of other people for doing the same to theirs.
Same thing for theirs.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah. Yeah. You're
I,
talking to the guy who dressed up as Neo from Matrix Part 2, okay?
I
All right. I dressed up as fucking Neo.
yeah. But I thought it was great seeing all these women come in their dress. Some of the people come in dresses, pink
Right.
dresses, high heels, and
That's
kid, I thought it
awesome,
was
man.
great.
See,
Yeah, I
it just
thought it
gets
was
you
great.
more involved. It gets you more
Yeah,
attached to it, man. It's
that's what
awesome.
movies are all about: is getting you
Yeah.
into the moment and getting you excited and enjoying the experience. And to these people that are coming out and saying, "Oh, I hate the movie because it's bashing men," did you watch the movie?
Right.
Yeah, because
Right.
it's not really much you can say. It's not true.
Right.
So
It's a lot of soft ass mother effers out
yeah,
here.
yeah. Come
Can't
on. I
handle a
mean,
couple jokes.
yeah, it makes comment. It makes joke. Yeah, because one of the man bashing that I've heard is, oh, they make fun of the fact that they say all men are running the companies.
They
If you look
were
at them,
for a while.
yeah, okay. If you look over the history of corporations for the last how many years, for what percentage of it was it male dominated? Like, you can't say they're lying. You
Right.
may be hurt by it, but they're not lying.
Right.
And they're just asking for representation. But then again, that's a bad word nowadays to say,
Yeah.
listen, we want equal representation. So
Oh, yeah. Don't get people started. Don't get the internets started. Oh my God. It's such a crazy world and country right now, dude. So oh
yeah,
man.
forget it, man.
Oh man, that's great, man. Listen, that
Yeah.
gets me a little excited to see it on my own when everybody's
Yeah.
sleeping. So
I won't tell nobody, man. I won't tell.
yeah, don't worry. I'm definitely gonna watch it. I'm not even gonna wait till it's like $5. I'm gonna do the
Yeah.
$20 one. You know how like the movie comes out on freaking VOD like
Yeah.
2 weeks after the movie comes
1999.
out?
Yeah.
At
1999
$19.99, I'm
rental.
do that one. I'm not gonna wait the 3 months for the $4.99. No,
Yeah,
no, sir.
man.
Not Barbie. Oh man. But listen, let's leave off on the last one here, Al. And this is the one, another one that you and I got to see together. I don't think Brandon came. Brandon came to the Mission Impossible, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I mean, unfortunately, B's not here tonight to speak for his opinion, but I think yet again another great movie, and I think that it's been an awesome year in movies. There's been a lot of really good movies this year, and
Hmm.
I have to put Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part One in there.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that makes you want to like roll your eyes a little bit, but I absolutely enjoyed Mission Impossible. And Al, feel free to speak freely because like the movie's been out for like 2-3 weeks, and with Turtles coming out this week, yeah, you're not going to see Mission Impossible. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
what'd you think of it?
And I enjoyed it. I won't say it's my favorite or my top Mission Impossible movie. For me,
Right,
that's still going to be the first one.
right.
You
First
know,
one was insane. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, everybody's granted with movie making improving over the years since that, who was it, 27 years ago since the first
Hmm.
one came out. All these newer movies look better. But in terms of just an overall experience being introduced to, I mean, the mask coming off at the end to show that he wasn't John Voight, it was actually Tom
Right,
Cruise that he was admitting to everything to and so forth. So
right.
just dropping from the ceiling and having to not touch the ground. I mean, we got so many classic scenes from that movie.
Right.
That's still my favorite one. But I mean, the way they did this movie, the emotions conveyed. Haley Atwell, I thought, did a
She
great
killed it.
job. Yeah,
Killed
kid,
it.
considering that she's not known on that level. I mean, she's been in a lot of movies. We know her as Agent Carter and so
Hmm.
forth from the MCU, but I hope this gets her a lot more opportunities because she was in those scenes with Tom Cruise and she was holding her own.
Yeah,
I
she
mean,
definitely was.
kid, the scene in the car when
Amazing.
when they first start rolling down the hill, she's on one side handcuffed, and when they get to the bottom, somehow they flip seats and they don't even know how. Uh, ki- and then the whole back and forth when they were in the airport, and just
Hmm.
the way they were able to go back and forth, and she held her own. Sometimes,
Yeah.
you could get actors, if they're not of a certain level, they can get overshadowed
Hmm.
simply because of who they're in the scene with. And I
Right.
don't think she did in anyone that she had to partner with him in. So
Right.
I hope she gets some opportunities from this. Mantis was in this, and I thought she did a great
She
job.
did great too. Yeah.
Before going to see the movie, I had heard some criticism of her character that, oh, she's a ripoff of Harley Quinn and this and that. I didn't think so at all. Other than the
Mm-mm.
one scene where she had her face painted, she didn't joke. There was no gimmickry. She was very serious from the beginning and skilled in combat. How are you comparing that to Harley Quinn? I don't
Right.
understand. So she did a good job, and then we have Vin Rames, Vin Rames in the movie, like always. So
Yeah.
I, I love it. I'm looking
Simon
forward to the
Pegg.
second one. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely looking for part two, man.
yeah,
Yeah, I absolutely enjoyed my time in the theater. Again, I think there was just a few things that made it not be great. I thought it was really, really good. But like right there, being almost great. But there was a couple of things I just was like, come on. Like if you guys have seen the movie, or if you're not, again, you've had your time to watch it. So we're gonna kind of spoil it here. But there's a scene that we've all seen in the commercials, and you've seen even before the movie was gonna come out, is Tom Cruise jumping off the top of a mountain on a bicycle, which is absolutely fucking crazy. I thought that was nuts and that he would land on top of the train, no problem. No, this guy flies through a window in the train exactly where the bad guy is holding the gun and about to shoot Haley Atwell.
yeah.
That was like, oh, okay, come on now. You're gonna tell me you could see that shit from out there? Like, come on. Yeah, like, I don't believe that. It just that was too far for me.
Yeah.
Some of the other stuff that was happening in the movie was a little too far fetched too, but played off very cool, very spy oriented. Even the thought process of the AI, taking over and,
Mhm.
and being in control and choosing someone that Tom Cruise's character would have to deal with, that he knew that would mess with him. Like that was awesome and all that stuff. I
Mhm.
think it was well written and a lot of good jokes in there. But
Yeah.
I think a little too far fetched in certain scenes and certain things that were happening. Like even the car chases were like, holy shit, there's just a lot lot going on right now. It was dude, almost Fast and Furious style, but it was a little more believable.
Yeah.
A little more believable. But I thought it was really, really good. Again, it got me excited to see part two. But Javi Hobbs is looking for something great, like
Yeah,
I'm looking for something that makes me want to go back and back and back. But I'll definitely watch this movie again. But it's not one of my favorites. Like Al said, your favorite is probably the first one. Mine is
hmm
Ghost Protocol. I think Ghost Protocol was amazing
yeah,
for the Mission Possible series. But yeah, man, looking forward to Dead Reckoning Part Two. I heard that might be 2 years out with all the strikes going on.
yeah,
And let's leave off on that, Al. I mean, really quickly, man, what's your thoughts on these actors and these I think the directors signed, right? The
yeah. The
directors signed, it's the
directors,
writers
yeah,
and the actors now, right?
the writers and the actors, and this, I think like the rest of the movie, like the people that build the sets, I think they were also there in
Striking
there.
too.
Um, I I'm in support of them. I don't think there's anything too crazy with their demands.
Right.
Do they have to maybe adjust to what they're asking for? Um, I think hopefully the movie theaters, the companies will come to the table to bargain or negotiate, because how do you tell an actor who's the main reason the movie is doing well that they shouldn't get a cut of the royalties from these movies that you've now insisted on streaming instead of distributing, through hard media?
Right.
Blu-ray sales are dropping like every year over year. You are intentionally coming up with a business a model where you're moving towards streaming, but you're
Yeah.
going to tell these people who are the main reason these movies are doing well, you're not going to get a cut of that success. How do you do that? I
Right.
don't understand how. Now, if you want to say, listen, the money doesn't come in the same way as it came from each sale of an individual disc, that's
Right.
fine. But come to the table and say, okay, how can we all share from the revenue that is
Sharing this
generating?
revenue.
Because I
Yeah.
can't see you saying, well, I fronted the money, so I deserve all the money that comes from it going forward. But you giving the
Right.
money is not the reason why that movie is a success. The movie is a success because of the people that wrote the script, because of the people that acted out the part on the
Mm-hmm.
screen. Yeah, your money was a vital part of it, but it's not the only reason the movie is making all this money. So reward the people who helped you make this money and who
Yeah.
probably will help you make more money in the future. So
Mm-hmm.
come to the table and say, okay, let's figure this out. How do you one exec was recorded or reported as saying, "Oh, let's wait till they start losing their homes and apartments, and then
Mm-hmm.
what?" Like,
Stupid.
I'm supposed to feel that you're right and not have sympathy for these people who you want to lose homes and livelihoods because you feel it gives you a bigger bargaining chip down the road. I mean,
Yeah,
well, you're
it's
making
crazy.
$100 and something million a year for just making decisions. But
Mm-hmm.
they're the reason. When you talk 20 years from now, when you talk about a movie that was Oppenheimer,
Mm-hmm.
are you? Nobody's going to be talking about the guy who laid out the movie or who was running the studio at the time. They're going to be talking
Right.
about the actors that were on the screen, who wrote the score, who directed it, and so forth, who wrote the
Right.
the,
The
the
screenplay and
screenplay
everything.
and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who's going to have the majority of the conversation as to why the movie's a long term success. So
Mm-hmm.
reward those people for it, and that's my opinion. Like, reward those who's making it make that
Mm-hmm.
money for such a long time.
I got you. Yeah, I remember that the writers were the first ones to strike.
Mhm.
And when I heard the reasons why they were striking, with these writer rooms where it's like 15 people, now it's down to one person, or these people are not guaranteed, steady work.
Yeah.
It's just, to me, like, I think they're a little bit of the unsung hero here, right? While the directors are fantastic at directing these actors, and these actors are phenomenal at acting out what's written on paper, they're still reciting or reading something that someone wrote to do the movie, right? They're reading, they're reciting the words, they're using the things that's on the page there to make the movie. I
Mhm.
think the writers need a little bit more backing and more funds in their careers and their lives, because I do think that there's a lot of stuff going on out there, especially with, again, one of the bigger reasons that this is happening right now is because of the way of entertainment, the streaming services, Netflix,
Mhm.
Hulu, all these different things, and they're making TV shows now, 10 episodes. It's like, some people should be paying people more.
Yeah.
Disney, I don't know what's going on with you at Marvel, buddy.
Oh Jesus.
But don't get me started on that Secret Invasion ending.
Oh
Oh
man.
boy. Oh boy. We're talking about movies. Okay, Javi.
Yeah, it has so much potential, man.
Oh boy. Maybe that should be another podcast where we talk about what the hell's going on with fucking Marvel.
Yeah,
But
man.
I mean, they had a couple of hits in there, but
Yeah.
again, it's the writing, right? And I think the reason why the writing is so special. Look at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Like that is James Gunn's baby. He's a writer. He made that movie himself, and look at how it turned out compared to all the other BS Marvel has put out in the last
Hmm.
couple of years now.
Yeah.
And when you hear about what these writers working conditions and where they work and how they work and what they're doing and how they get paid, you can kind of understand, hey man, we got to look out for them. They got to
Yeah.
get paid a little bit better than this, and
Yeah.
maybe have some kind of structure to how they get paid, and maybe some residuals if the show gets, what do they call it, syndicated?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like, we got to look out for the people. I mean, they're not
Yeah.
talking about millions of dollars. They're just talking to get a fair cut. And I
Exactly.
think
Like,
that's fair as well.
yeah, because look at what, before I forget, some of the other stuff, like one, you can tell they want to switch over to like an AI generated scripting. And I think
Oh,
that's why they're thinking they can get away from getting rid of these writers and just making them, oh, you're just for this episode or you're just for that. This way I don't have to call you an employee.
right.
But look what they were also looking to do to the actors. They were trying to make it so that they can, if you're an extra,
Mhm.
one of the sticking points I heard was, as an extra, they can pay you for 1 day's work. They'll image your likeness, and then they were going to be allowed to use that likeness for the rest of time in movies, like as an extra in the background. They can use to have the computer use your likeness and generate you,
Yeah,
and not have to pay you for that.
that's nuts.
But they're going to pay you for 1 day's work,
Mhm.
but they can use your likeness for the rest of time, even potentially after you pass. What?
Right.
Like
Doesn't
that's
make
what I'm saying.
sense.
Like there's fairness and then there's not being fair. And I think that's completely not being fair. Like you're really
Right.
just taking advantage of it and saying almost take what we give you
Yeah.
because soon we won't need you at all. And that's where I think they're trying to go.
I think that's where we should be going. We should fucking. I'm done with Sanjay and Brandon. Like, we're just gonna AI those motherfuckers and put them on the podcast. They don't even know that they're on it, but they're on
deep
it.
deep fake them into an
We're
episode.
oh, we're so deep faking Sanj. I love those two guys, man. They're
Oh
crazy. I love
god.
them. But yeah, man. I mean, listen, you hear us, we're talking about these actors and these, writers here. How do you guys feel? I mean, because
Hmm.
I'm sure some of you feel opposite than we do. Like maybe they get paid enough, these actors, for in your opinion.
Yeah.
But I always tell you guys, remember, do not judge the few, or I'm sorry, do not judge the many by the few.
Hmm.
As many actors as you guys think are famous and popular, you're not really seeing how many actors there are in this industry. There are
Okay.
so many.
Yeah, no, you're making a great point because I think they said only 1% of the acting population can, and the writers and all that can
Can earn a
support
living.
themselves on the living
Yeah.
they make from this. So
Yeah.
that's a very
We're
good
judging
point.
people off the big names that we know, the big writers, right? And the big actors there. But there are so many other writers and other actors that are in the industry that are not making their fair share. So,
Hmm.
just remember that. Again, don't judge everybody by Brad Pitt, so and not everybody's that. So anyway,
Yeah,
let's hope that these guys work something out. That's something
yeah,
that's fair,
yeah,
because it is starting to affect movies, right? It
yeah,
may not be affecting the movies we're seeing right now because those movies were already made a year ago,
yeah,
or 2 years ago or so. But guys, I'm already hearing movies that are being stalled. Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse Part 3 already indefinitely on hold.
yeah.
Uh, I can't even tell you how many Marvel movies are being held right now, which might be a benefit for them, but we'll see. But we just came from a lull of movies with COVID, so we know
Yeah.
what that's like, where we're getting like 3 4 movies and they all suck, and then no real good movie's going to come out till a couple months later or weeks later.
Hmm.
Look at the this whole summer has been hit after hit after hit, and that's what we want, man. That's what we want as movie fans. We want to see good movies and different stories. Look at Oppenheimer, Mission Impossible. We're
Yeah.
going to see the Turtles this week, Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Insidious movies. How many great horror movies has come out this year? Like that is to this is the year of horror, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, we still got The Nun Part 2. We still have The Exorcist Part 2, I guess it is.
Yeah. Did that movie Don't Talk to Me or Talk to Me? Did that come out yet?
I
Because
heard
I've
that came out last week and people are loving it but there's not a
yeah,
lot of
man.
big promotion. There's not a lot of advertising behind it. They want word of mouth, and I heard it's fantastic.
Yeah, I
So
want
it's
to see
another
that
movie I
one.
have to put down on my list to check it out, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. But listen, that's gonna be us for this week. Next week, hopefully the four of us or three of us or just Al and I, we'll get back and we'll give you a little review of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. We'll let you know what we thought of the movie, what we recommend if you guys watch it, and we'll talk about some of the scenes and some of the stuff that happened in the movie that we really like, and maybe get ready for the Blue Beetle the week after. So coming out of Long Island, New York, we are the Real Fan Review. Saying goodnight is our man in the chair, Al.
Have a good night, everybody.
Myself, Hav, saying thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button on YouTube or hit the plus symbol on your podcast app. That way we can come to you every single week when we put out a podcast. And we'll get back to you next week with some more movies. So let us know how you think. Realfanreview@gmail.com or the comment section on the YouTube. We'll definitely read it, and we'll get back to you on the next podcast. Until next time.